So why do some organizations miss the full picture when they're considering cloud adoption? I think this has a lot to do with culture, the way that teams operate, and just knowledge of the benefits that come with cloud technology. We've seen sort of an education gap in the market as far as how cloud platforms work and how far their benefits go to help the company's enterprise value. We asked companies in a recent survey what their top benefits were after they migrated workloads. And these organizations said faster deployment time, increased security, and better data metrics and insights. And it's great because when we asked them their top challenges and drivers to migrating, they were pretty much all those same things. So they actually gained what they were going for. But I think the important thing there is faster deployment time. That's not just, okay, we have more storage in cloud platforms, that's time to market. Increased security, the stronger your company is, the more stability you have in your market and more financially stable you are. Using data to glean insights and make business decisions is a sign of a truly innovative and digitally transformed company in the market. So another reason that organizations might not see the full picture is just how their teams operate with each other. There can be silos between some internal teams, such as product and IT and executive business. When we asked organizations in our survey who was most resistant to moving to the cloud, the top people were executives and that upper management and leadership. But IT departments actually were pretty high up there as well. And it's not that IT departments don't know the advantage of cloud technology. They're much more knowledgeable on average than the executive, but they probably know more about what they can and cannot do to get to the cloud. Executives may read some full cloud report like one that we recently wrote and say, oh, that's great, let's do it. Here's your budget and here's your timeline. And the IT department says, there's no way we can do that, right? Because that's the culture of the company. There might not be enough communication or understanding of level playing field as far as what technology can do for you, but also what you need to do to enable that. And so all that to say that it's really important to make sure that you've reshaped your culture, you've gotten everyone on the same page before you migrate.
Many organizations, when they're first starting to come up with their migration plan, they overlook security and disaster recovery. These are two pieces of architecture that I feel like a lot of corporations and a lot of architects kind of can put as a secondary piece of what they are deploying, but it really needs to be incorporated more holistically into the migration plan. That's important just because if you have architecture that is deployed and then you are having to retroactively go back and lock it down to make sure things are deployed securely, there are a lot of pieces that you can overlook, such as how the services are interacting with each other. And that kind of goes for disaster recovery as well. Having a robust disaster recovery plan oftentimes isn't just as simple as duplicating your environment and having it be on standby. It's great if you can do that. If you can do that, then sure, disaster recovery might not have to be at the forefront of your mind, but many people can't afford to have a hot standby of just an absolute replica of their environment. So when you are designing your migration plan and what applications you're going to deploy in the cloud for the first time, you should be thinking about how these applications can be the most securely deployed possible, and also how these applications need to be supported in disaster recovery instances. So what services should I be thinking about configuring for DR, and what does that look like? How long is the standby? How long is how much data can I lose in this disaster recovery plan? Things like that are really important to keep in mind first, because otherwise you might end up in a scenario where things are migrated and your DR plan isn't in place, and if that's the case, a lot of times your application can't go live until you have a DR plan, because what if something happens? What if something crashes? Security and disaster recovery need to be implemented just as much as the original application needs to be working.